joyful hello to all of you. My name is Minnku, Buttar, founder of the Circle of Joy that brings you self-mastery programs and retreats. It gives me great joy to bring to you this season's talk show, a series of interviews on choosing joy, secrets, and stories from all over the world. It is my diligent attempt to show you that joy is not a hockey-pocky, frivolous concept, but a discipline, a way of life much needed if you want to be resilient, radiant, and unstoppable like a runaway train. So subscribe to my channel so that you can tap into the wisdom of people from all over the world. I will see you there.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Minnku Buttar, your host from India. Thank you for all of you who log into my YouTube channel to hear these very powerful and very transformational conversations I have with my guest speakers. Now, today's conversation is one more of clean the cobwebs of ignorance in between your ears category, as I call it, because I firmly believe that it's usually the lack of knowledge and ignorance that fuels judgments and prejudices against other humans. Now, my speaker today is so special, empowered. She's LinkedIn's top voices for social impact and DIEB. She's a transgender rights activist, an artist, an author, a fashion designer, an entrepreneur. She has spoken at Harvard, Yale, Cornell, 3 times over TEDx speaker. She's the founder of the Sahodari Foundation, which talks about social justice and recognizes transgenders, people's rights in India. She's really intellectual, guys. I mean, there's more to come. Hold on. She holds 2 master's degrees, has been conferred the honorary doctorate in 2017 for her work on transgender empowerment in India and the contribution to the verdict and recognition of transgender identity by the Supreme Court of India in 2014 is worth mentioning. She had this thoughtful and moving speech, which I've yet to hear, and I'm going to ask her for her recording later. She spoke at the Harvard University and received a standing ovation. She's today sought after for many motivational speeches of inclusivity. Please welcome, all the way from Coimbatore, India, Kalki Subramaniam. Kalki, I'm so happy to have you here, especially because you are from my own country, India. Welcome.
Thank you, Minnku, for this show. I feel really honored and happy to be a part of this show.
Kalki, today we're going to have such a powerful conversation that really needs to happen, because if we are to understand and support inclusivity, which we should, then we must include people who do not perhaps fit into people's traditional definition of inclusivity, whether it's a personal relationship or a works. And this goes for the LGBTQ community as well. And before we start, I don't want to misgender you, which a lot of people do. What pronouns do you prefer for yourself here, Kalki? Yeah, Kalki, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you, but are you able to see me?
I think the internet's doing like cat and mouse here. I can't see you all of a sudden, but can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you and see you as well.
Okay, you're back. So I was just, I didn't want to misgender you. So I was just asking you, what pronouns, Kalki, do you use for yourself? Because I think that is the ultimate respect.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
My preferred pronouns are she and her.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Taking it from the top, I actually interviewed Celia Sandhya Daniels 3 months ago, who is a common friend of ours, right?
Yes.
And she contributed to my knowledge and my audience knowledge of understanding the umbrella of gender diverse or transgenders. So please correct me if I'm wrong. And my understanding is that when a person's gender identity matches their sex at birth, they are called cisgender, right?
Yes.
Right? And I love to read about my speakers, and I came across a statement by you in one of your other interviews, and you said gender is not just binary, it's multiple and real. Would you like to explain to us, just knowledge and understanding of the audience? How is a transgender person different from a cisgender, and what is binary and non-binary? If you would be kind enough to explain that a little bit.
Sure, I'll be more than happy to do it.
Thank you.
To talk about the term transgender is an umbrella term for persons whose gender identity or expression, for example, masculine, feminine, or other, it's different from their sex, sex at birth.
Right.
People are born as male, female, and intersex at birth.
Right.
But many of us may not identify ourselves with the gender, with the sex that we are born with. So that's one thing. So gender identity refers to one's own understanding of one's own gender,
right,
or the greater with which a person identifies. Gender expression is a term used to describe people's outward presentation of their gender, right?
Okay. So it's a very diverse term of expression then.
Yes. So for me, I would say you are identifying yourself as a woman because you were born, assigned at birth as a female, in a female sex, of course. But your outward expression and everything is you identify as a woman.
Right.
But for me, I was born as a male, assigned at birth as a male, but I did not identify my gender in that assigned sex. Because I did not feel comfortable, and it is not my true self. So I wanted to express a gender, my expression, my body language, everything in a gender that I identify with, and that is female gender. So basically, people like me are known as transgender people. And of course, gender identity and sexual orientation are, as you know, they are very different facets of identity. Everyone has a gender identity and a sexual orientation, men, women, transgender people. But a person's gender does not determine a person's sexual orientation. Transgender person may identify as heterosexual or homosexual, bisexual, pansexual, or none of the above. So to put it clearly, gender identity is what one identifies as himself or herself or itself. And sexual orientation is whom you're attracted to, men, women, or transgender people or non-binary persons.
That's Thank you. Thank you so much. And then, of course, you have the gender fluid and the demi-genders.
There is so much.
Multi-genders. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for explaining that so beautifully. And let's narrow this down. I'm going to bring the focus back to our country here, Kalki. With the population estimation, we are standing at 1.42 billion this year in 2023.
Yes.
Which is literally 17.76% of the world population. And,
very proud to be the largest democratic as well as the largest populated country in the world.
and a democracy that accommodates cultural diversity. It's got 121 languages, 270.
Oh my God, there's no country in the world as diverse as India, because I went to Manipur in March this year, in February this year, And I was so astonished to see the differences of culture, people, food, dress,
Hmm.
dance, folk arts, everything that is so different from Tamil Nadu to Manipur.
Yes, we are it's only one way I explain this to the non-Indians. I said, we are the truly spirited nation. Now you belong to Tamil Nadu, and I had to get my geography and my history right. You're the 10th largest Indian state and the 6th largest by population.
Yes.
And I have to tell you this, Kalki, I'm very, very partial to your blend of your state's traditions and art and music and literature. I think you have so much to offer. So tell us, Kalki, what was it growing up like in Tamil Nadu? And what age did you realize that your identity with your gender identity and sex was different, that you couldn't identify with what you were born? And what
Yes.
was this whole process? Would you take us a little bit through that?
Through my past
Yes.
and the cultural context, everything.
Yes, if you could,
About the state, its connection with me and all that. Okay.
that would be nice.
I was born in a very beautiful small town near the Tamil Nadu Kerala border,
Mhm.
which is called Pollachi. It's very, very beautiful place, my places, with mountains and rivers and coconut palms and
Lovely.
paddy fields and waterfalls and forests and all that. Many Bollywood and Indian movies have been shot here. I think I remember, you might remember Virasa.
Yeah, it was
Virasa
like,
was shot here in my
wow.
place. And apart from that, many movies, of course. My place is so beautiful. And my father was into transport business, and my mother was managing our homes. I had an elder and a younger sister, and I was the only child who was assigned as male at birth. So, in Indian households, we have privilege for male children. So they put me into an English medium school, and they put my both siblings, girls, my elder sister and younger sister, into a government school, into a Tamil medium. But the love they gave all of us was all equal.
Mm,
I came out to my parents when I was 12 or 13 years old, and initially I went through a lot of struggles at home. It was not easy for them to accept me, but eventually I did. I made them understand me.
wow.
Um, I struggled a lot in school than at home because there was
Mm,
so much of bullying and all that. In
yeah.
spite of that, I was able to complete schooling. I was able to somehow complete graduation and master's degrees because the on factor that was
Mm,
so much giving me strength, and that is
mm,
so important for any transgender person
right.
is family inclusion and love. I
Right.
think that is a privilege. Uh,
Yeah.
that I enjoy. I would call it a privilege, even though other
Mm,
children might call it the duty of the parents to love their child. Because people like me, transgender people, do not have that luck,
yeah.
that blessing to be included as a part of our biological families. Many of them are chased out of their homes,
Phased out. Yeah.
rejected, and many
Mm,
of them are begging and doing sex work because they have been pushed out of their homes, and they've
mm,
been pushed to the very bottom of the
mm.
society and exploited by the same society that rejects them too.
That
So
is,
I was the luckiest one. So they gave
yes.
me an education, and look at how today I am. It's because I've been given an opportunity by my parents. And I only wish all transgender people had the
Mm,
same kind of love and affection and privileges and
yeah.
rights from the families and parents.
Yes, let's put that intention out there, Kalki, and
Yes.
that's the reason we're bringing this thought process,
Yeah.
between you and I today to a larger audience for them to understand that there is a force in play that's beyond choices. You don't have a choice. You are feeling what you're feeling. But yes, you're right. Kalki, the harsh truth is that in India, the attitude towards this aspect is still very prosecutorial. I know what you mean, the ridicule, the harassment, the bullying from a young age. So, and of course, then it leads to gender dysphoria, right? And this ecological distress that you talked about. Now, you, of course, very blessed and thank God, because today you're the voice to uphold these narratives. Kalki, tell me, how can we change this narrative from rejection to acceptance and inclusivity? And how can a transgender or someone who's just feeling different lead a life of dignity, especially with the families? What can we do to change this in the family itself? What would you suggest?
I think as a society, after the colonization of the British, particularly, we have become very homophobic and transphobic because of the colonization, I would say.
Wow.
In 1871, the British, who were actually ruling our country, occupying, I would say, exploiting, they brought a law. It's called the Criminal Tribes Act, 1871, which criminalized almost 33 communities of people, including gypsies, transgender people called eunuchs then, and many other communities as well, the tribals and all that. Anybody who was born into these communities, even a child, is presumed to be a criminal, of course. So transgender people who were once celebrated, even in Mahabharata and all that,
yes, of course. Yeah,
they become victims at the hands of British because of their homophobia and transphobia. And over the years, because of this suppression, not just transgender people, but also tribals, transgender gypsies, and a lot other communities of people were affected. Until today, this whole range of communities are affected because there was caste problems as well in our country.
of course.
And the people who identified as transgender or gypsy or tribal, all of us were affected, of course. And the narrow-mindedness on gender and sexuality by the British and bringing in their Victorian morality was all a reason that today homophobia and transphobia and gender inequality exists. It's not just transgender people.
Yeah.
They can suffer because of this gender inequality, gender.
The biases, it's part and parcel of corporate culture and personal culture.
Absolutely. So that has been the reason, of course. So how can we address this huge problem? I think changing for the first thing that we should do is creating an inclusive education at school, in colleges, is what would change our children to be more open, to be broad-minded, and to respect people as they are, as humans, and not as somebody who should be respected for physical beauty or wealth or caste or religion. So transgender rights have been excluded in our books, in our education. Queer rights and trans rights have been excluded. And children learn a lot of false information for generations.
Yeah.
And women's rights, feminism and all that has been excluded, of course. It's all because of the British colonization, and we mindlessly follow their education.
Yeah.
It has to be changed.
It has to be changed. And I agree with you, Kalki. You'll be very, very happy to know that, I'm also the president for Women Indian Council of Commerce and Industry for Karnataka, one of the verticals. And you'd be so happy to know that one of the mandates that we had to put in into legislature is we studied the education policy, and we have actually put it in with the Chief Minister of Karnataka, and it's documented LGBTQ, inclusivity, mindfulness, menstrual hygiene, and just sex education in schools. So absolutely bang on.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, we have started this. Yes, and it was acknowledged by the Chief Minister. And Kalki, that is so beautifully said. I'm just so proud of who you are today. I mean, are such a role model in transforming many lives from shame to pride. I think that's the only way I can describe you. You're not just a role model, I think you're dynamite. Not just for India, but the world has acknowledged your work. You, NG Changemakers chose you as a change ambassador. You have been NDTV's L'Oreal's Paris Women of Worth nominee. Facebook honored you as the 12 most inspiring women. Wow.
Yes.
It's been amazing.
Thank
Now, I was, doing a little bit of research, and I saw that the documentation of the total number of the transgender community shows up only as 4.8 million, and the last documentation was 2011. Do we have a little bit? Would you have a little bit more updated population status?
As you said, the population statistics was done by the population census of India, which happened in 2011. But I think it was, we believe that it was wrong, because nobody comes out and tells, hey, yes, I'm in my family, I'm a transgender. Who would come out and say openly? And how many transgender people are accepted by our families?
You're right.
Come out and tell the census officer that, yes, I'm a transgender, I'm living with my mother and father. It doesn't happen. I don't know how they had that statistics. It could be right or wrong, but I would say that, as you said, 4.88 lakhs, but it could be 5 times higher than what you say. It could be more than 25 lakhs of transgender people might be living in our country, who live openly and who hide their identity, because we don't have a socio-economical inclusive society right now, which respects our community. So many of them do not come out because of the shame.
The school admissions, I know there's a problem with even having toilets, which toilet to enter. How is that changing at the grassroots levels?
I think for me, I wouldn't even wish a separate toilet. I would wish an all-inclusive gender toilet.
No, that's what I meant. Like, in India, you have male or female.
Yes.
And to freedom to choose, right?
Yes, totally, yes. You're talking about gender?
Yeah. So how easy is it, to get into colleges, etc., if, say, someone has come out and they're taking the other? That's the other thing that is so ambiguous, because you have the male, female, and the other. Is it a good thing that's happening, that they have that other box?
I'm not happy about the others, and we are not the others. As I said, which is also my book title, We Are Not the Others.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wanted your views on that.
I would ask, who are you to say the first sex is male and second sex is female, and the transgender people are the others?
Yes.
I would say we are the first, women are the second, and of course, men are the last. That's what I would say, because women creates women power, feminine energy is the most important energy in our entire life. And that was my spiritual quote, of course, but on a very practical level, what I would say is that this categorization of others includes many gender identities: transgender men, transgender women, non-binary people, intersex people, so many other identities. And these people, whoever has put the term others, is trying to box all of us into one thing by in the name of a tokenism, in the name of being inclusive, which of course is a tokenistic idea without any understanding. The column others is unacceptable, and I would not tick myself in others in a gender box.
That is so vital for people who are listening in our audience to understand that this category that you create in boxing is absolutely unacceptable. And I totally agree with you. And that's what your book is about.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's so important that as an activist, I stand up for my community, and I should have a clarity, and I should not, I don't accept tokenism at all.
I
I
agree with you.
accept sympathy. I don't accept tokenism. What we want is empathy, understanding, equality.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you don't, when you're talking about equality, we're talking about understanding and empathy. You don't have to, you can't start here. This is where we need to meet, and for that, these kind of narratives we are having is so important. You've done some amazing art and literally you coming through with your messages in many ways, the films, the speeches, the exclusive artworks that you're doing.
Yeah.
You have this Sahodari Foundation that I want to talk about as well. But tell me about this beautiful, as an artist, you took your art to another level, and you've been
Yes.
part of the Bangalore Fashion Week. And I was so excited. I relate to that as an artist and a designer. Tell me more about it. Share this. Do you have a piece of art we can show the audience, and
Of
where you're
course,
going
I
with
do.
it?
I do.
Yes.
How did art and poetry and fashion get into me is that during my teenage years, when there was nobody to talk for me about my gender identity and all that, I used to take a notebook and write my agony as little poems. And I used to visualize, who do I want to be? I want to be this beautiful girl in an all big, beautiful ballroom gown and all that. So I used to draw myself, visualize myself
Yeah.
in that. So that visualization helped me to be a healed person, a joyful person, and helped me not to lose myself as a human being, not to become very bitter or a bitter person. At the same time, I put out all my agony into poetry, which was also important because that did not leave bitterness and negativity into my heart. So later, so many years later, in 2017, I decided to be an artist because I met my friend Lata Kurian Rajiv in Trivandrum, who is the wife of the famous Malayalam director TV Rajiv Kumar. Rajiv from TK Rajiv Kumar, who is also director of films like Chanakya, Rati Nirvedam, and all that. So she is a very good of mine. She saw my artwork and she arranged for a show of my artwork. And since then, it has been a long journey, successful journey. And recently, what I've been doing is I've been experimenting my art for the past 3 years, painting and bringing my poetry into painting as well.
Beautiful.
So I'm trying to fuse art and painting. I did it very successfully in 2020 and 21. And now for the past 2 years, I've been experimenting, taking up art and poetry into fabrics. So I'm bringing that into fashionable fabrics on satin and all that. And this is one of the pieces I made. Oh, this is upside down.
It's stunning, stunning.
It's my art.
Even if you hold it upside down, it still is a poetic expression. That is amazing.
Yes, it is my beautiful artwork.
I love that. I love the joy that is emanating from you right now, and I love it. I just think it's fabulous that art should not be just on the walls. That's what I always say. Drape it, embrace it, and enjoy it all the time. That's so beautiful. I
So this is
absolutely
just one of the
have.
pieces, one of
Yeah.
the artwork I designed, one of the designs. There are many,
Yes.
which in fabulous, vibrant color, because I am a very fluorescent artist. I paint a lot of fluorescent colors on canvas.
Yes.
This is actually was painted on a canvas and then later transferred into.
Lovely. I am claiming and reserving one of those beautiful jackets at the Bangalore Fashion Week. It's
Oh,
mine,
yes.
Kalki. That is so
And
fabulous.
it was really, really very successful
Very
show.
well received.
And now I have invitations from
all
other
over.
schools as well to
I
participate.
have just extended you an invite to be part
Oh,
of the fashion show that I'm going to be curating in January. Just we had this talk before we started the interview, and I think there's a whole world waiting where you can pass your message, because art is an expression of emotions. And I
yes,
love what you said, that unless you have a window, and that's as a mindfulness practitioner, I go like, unless you have a window to express, and when we take on and our pent-up emotions become trauma, and then trauma manifests itself in different parts of our body, including cancer. So congratulations for finding those avenues and creating joy. While we are on this topic, and I want to also, I'm keeping an eye on the time, but I also, you stand for so much, Kalki. I want to talk about the Sahodari and your enterprises. But before I go into the work that you do and how you're showing up, could I tempt you to maybe read us just one or two stanzas from, from your poem? Do you
yes, of
have your
course,
book
I'll be more than
around?
happy to do it.
Oh, thank you.
So
Oh,
here's
we
my
are not
English
yet.
book, We Are Not the Others. So this
Lovely.
poetry book actually carries many of my artwork as well.
Wonderful. I see that. I totally see that. Smash the biography. Lovely.
Yes. A
Absolutely.
lot other artwork as well in
Yeah.
my book.
Yeah.
I would like to read one of them, and of course, the Tamil book called Kuri Aruteen.
Okay. What does it mean?
Phallus, I cut.
Wonderful. I
First book.
absolutely, that photograph of yours are there. Your eyes say it all.
Yes,
Definitely. I see that. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is my second.
So would love to hear one of your poems, maybe just one or two stanzas. So, just
Sure.
the audience gets a feel into who is Kalki and where are you coming from. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I'm going to read my poetry called Don't Tell That to Me. Don't Tell That to Me.
Mhm.
I'm tired of you telling me how I don't look like a transgender woman. I'm tired of you telling me I look just like a real woman. I'm tired of you telling me I'm so brave. I'm tired of you telling me everything is perfect except my voice, which could be more feminine. I'm tired of you asking me when was the first time that I felt I'm a transgender. I'm tired of you asking me if I live with my family. I'm tired of your curiosity. I'm tired of your sympathy. I'm tired of your stare. I'm tired of your whispers. I'm tired of you asking me to bless you. To you and to the million others, I want to shout, I am made of flesh and blood, of fear and hope, of joy and pain. I am like you. I am human too. That's from my book.
That
Uh,
is
You're Not the Others, and it's
beautiful.
available on Amazon and Flipkart as well worldwide.
Oh, that was so, so beautiful. I heard, the echo of these unwanted questions that pierces the heart and so unneeded. The inclusivity that you talk about should be the most natural way to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was so poignant. Thank you so much for that. Now I want to bring you back also to the wonderful way in which, poetry, fashion, art, but you are doing so much more. You have this beautiful foundation that I was reading about that I really want our audience to know. It's the Sahodari Foundation.
Yes.
And this is it focuses on knowledge, education, and life skills. So tell me a little bit more about the project, especially the Red Wall project, the Wall of Kindness. How beautiful. I just looked at that and I read the descriptions and I said, how apt. You've really, this is a deep dive into empowering the communities. What and how are these working? Tell us, say, for example, is it the Thurikai? Is that how you pronounce it?
Thurikai, yes, it's a Thurikai project.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Can we start with that briefly because it's about trauma and violence, and then
Yes.
go on to the Red Wall project?
Yes. Sahodri Foundation was started in 2007. For over 16 years, we have been doing amazing work, including I've done a lot of work with the Supreme Court Judiciary, with the former Chief Justice of India, Altamas Kabir sir, who was very instrumental in recognizing our gender, legalizing transgender identities through the Supreme Court verdict in 2015. Apart from that, Sahodri Foundation has always believed in empowering our community economically and taking initiatives for our community for social inclusion. So one of the most important projects is the Turiki project, which empowers transgender people and encourages them to practice art and craftsmanship, and we encourage the community to create artwork and craftsmanship, so more craft work, so that they could support their own livelihood. So we have been doing this for 5-6 years. It's not such a huge project, but we have been able to make so many changes. Many of the artists who got trained in Sahodri Foundation are also working in other projects like the Arvani Art Project and others, working with other communities as well and earning their livelihood. So the Red Ball project is an important project because transgender person, each and everyone is a victim of sexual assault, sexual violence. So, but nobody cares, nobody talks about it. Even our own community people do not talk about it. So the foundation, through our team, we talk to transgender people and we document their life and the kind of struggles that they went through, and particularly the abuse that they went through. We document it through their own writing on a paper, handmade paper, and we encourage them to put a red imprint of their palm to show the resistance towards violence and sexual abuse. So in that way, we are making and encouraging everyone to be the voicing against injustice done to them. Apart from that, we have the transgender entrepreneurship program, transgender education program, through which we support transgender people with laptops who are pursuing their graduation, undergraduation, post-graduation, and PhD. We support them with laptop. Even today evening, I'm going to a Rotary Club meeting to procure 3 laptops for our community people. So that is one thing. And we have the transgender youth mentorship program, through which we guide transgender people to have a better life without begging and sexual exploitation. It's a 6 months program we offer free. Everything is completely without any cost for our community.
Powerful. Very powerful. Incredible, Kalki. I mean, these young students, you're going to break transphobia. You give them self-esteem and self-worth, and this is the most important savor, I think, granted to you by the unseen force, and you've taken the bull by its horn. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I invite all our audience to go on. Would you give a shout out to the website? Is it called the Sahodri? Where can people find you?
They can find me on the website called sahodari.org.
Sahodari.org.
SAHODARI.org. And that's my mother.
I was just going to say, what is Sahodari? That is.
Yes.
That's
my
her
mother
name.
was saying hi to you.
Right. Yes, namaste and namaskar. So beautiful. And my shout out and my heartfelt love for her, for being the ultimate mother who has loved you the way any child should be loved.
Thank
And that is so beautiful. Thank you for, that beautiful
That was an
smile. Yes,
unexpected.
beautiful smile. I think
Yes,
she felt your joy and
yes,
you're
yes.
sharing. And then
And
so
you're also looking at one of my other art
uh,
pieces behind me.
yes,
It's
I was
Frida
looking.
Kahlo.
It just caught my eye. Is it Lord Shiva or
Yes,
who is
it
that?
is a cushion pillow that I made
Yes,
of Frida Kahlo.
that's who she is. Yes, it looked like Shiva from far, but I see that now. What is it velvet? Is that why it's
It
changing
is, sequence.
sequence? And that's how she changes her
Yes, yes.
her face. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much. Totally joyful processes. Kalki, thank you so much for using your art as an expression of thought, emotion, intuition, desires. It is beautiful the way that you are empowering the transgender community. Thank you for being you and for sharing all of that. I invite all our audience to pick up one of Kalki's books to understand her emotions behind that. And also her art, her clothing line is going to be available very soon online as well. Any way that you could help Sahodari in supporting the work that's going on behind the scenes, the much needed work that we as a society have failed to do in our inclusivity. This is your chance to actually come through and help. It's never ever too late. And I feel seva is the bhava in India of empathy, of love, of unconditional love that we can bring forward so that we become a contributor to the overall superconscious of the world that we live in. Thank you. And now let's, if I can tempt you, Kalki, to take you into my rapid fire round.
Oh, okay. We do have a rapid fire round.
We
Wonderful.
have a rapid fire round that I throw in because when we talk about intense things, it's always
Yes.
nice to ground yourself towards the end. And this is my way of giving back to, it is found that sometimes if you're spontaneous with your answers, certain
Okay.
things have emerged for my speakers that they introspect later and they said, oh my God, where did this answer come from?
Okay. Okay.
And it's usually something that your subconscious brings to you. So with your permission, my first question, rapid fire, that's coming towards you, a brief answer, spontaneous. What is the one thing that brings you the maximum joy?
Painting. That gives me maximum joy.
Wonderful.
Like I forget the past, present, and future. And it's like a Zen moment for me. It's so still. And it's my meditation as well. So paint.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, if you had a magical lamp and out comes the genie, what's the first thing that's coming to you that you would ask for?
I would ask for longevity for my mother.
How sweet. Yes.
Yes.
That is so sweet. Yeah, I
I
can
would
see
want
that
my
you're.
mother to live more years with me.
Yes,
That's one thing I'll ask.
we wish that for her as well.
Thank you.
Complete the statement for me. Forgive others so that.
Forgive others so that you live free without bitterness.
That is amazing. Yes, because it manifests. If you were to meet any ancestor of yours who's maybe not living anymore, what is it that comes to your heart that you would say to them?
If I meet any ancestors, what would I say to them? I would tell them that I would kiss them. I would not say anything. I would rather kiss them.
Yeah, the hug and the kiss.
And I would fall at their feet, get the blessing. Yes.
That's beautiful. It's so beautiful because I'm doing generational healing with
Okay.
a few people, and this question spurs from that
Mm.
it takes 4,000 over ancestors to make our zygote, to make who we are when
Yes.
we're born. So to meet an ancestor and learn from them and ask for their blessing is the ultimate. Thank you for resonating with that.
I
That
have,
is
in fact, in my room here in my hall, I have, apart from my family portraits, I also have my elders, my
that is
grandmother, all their photographs as well,
you
because I
have.
believe in the power of respecting your elders, especially the old people.
Yes, yes,
They have rich experience, human experiences,
they
and their
do.
lives need to be
They
valued.
do. And then I'm also realizing it's becoming our absolute duty to ensure that any trauma as well that's carried forward generation to generation finishes with us, and then the healing. What is your one mantra for healing for anyone, not just for you? What is the one mantra that comes to your mind to heal?
Healing,
Mhm.
I think. Uh, Supporting the underprivileged.
Mm-hmm. You
That's
think
my
just that
mantra.
support would be very cathartic to heal yourself when you go
Absolutely.
and extend?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you make suffering into happiness, when you transition, when you change, when you have the power to change suffering into happiness, then that is a gift, that's a blessing God has given you. So you better practice that.
That's beautiful. Kalki, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for bringing your authenticity, for bringing this humongous journey of yours and sharing it, and for being here today. How do you feel? We've arrived at the end of the show.
I feel so happy, Minnku, and thank you for giving this opportunity to read my poetry, talk about my life, Sahodri Foundation, and of course, I feel so nice with my fabric as well, showing it to your audience.
Absolutely.
And I really enjoyed all your empathetic questions and your supportive narration for the underprivileged transgender community people to be included as a part of our society. Such pleasure and joy in connecting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kalki. It's absolutely my honor to be able to spread this message that comes from my heart, your heart, to audience. It's my shout out to all the listeners from around the world to support another human and a community that struggles for visibility and existence. And it's high time that we started seeing gender as a spectrum rather than just a set of binary traits. I think that's the most powerful way I can put that in. Thank you so much, Kalki.
Thank you, Minnku. And people can know more about me in my
Yes.
website, kalkisubramaniam.com.
Yes, absolutely. Join me in saying bye to all our listeners from around the world. And I look forward. Please connect with Kalki and make this the ultimate gift that you can give back to the universe by supporting Kalki.
Thank you, Minnku.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye, and thank you for your time.
And namaskar from India with love. This is Minnku Buttar signing off on this edition of the talk show, Choosing Joy, Secrets and Stories from Around the World. Bye now.
Bye.
To all of you.